Okay, well, first of all, what we're going to do here is we're going to cover the myEcon compensation plan tonight. I want to give you guys a better understanding of how our compensation plan works. And here at myEcon, we have what is called a hybrid compensation plan. It's obviously a plan that we built and programmed from scratch. So it's not one that you just buy off the shelf and you quote unquote start a company like a lot of these companies do. So it's not a binary plan, it's not a unilevel plan, it's not a matrix plan, it's not any of those things, okay? And this plan is one of the most rewarding plans in the industry based on we get you to the fastest paying promotions in the industry. We also pay out more money per revenue than any other company in this industry, and I'll put our compensation plan up against any compensation plan. And I'm sure that a lot of people say that when they, when you look at different companies and opportunities, but the calculator is what does the determination of this, not my opinion. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started here with the first part of our compensation training here. So let me just open this up here. Okay, so what you want to understand is everyone joins our company as a marketing director, okay? And it is $34.95 to join the plan, okay? And obviously, you know what that comes with. It gets your whole financial success membership with all those products and services that come in that membership, and I'm not going to cover those right now. But what I am going to talk about is how do we get promoted and how does the compensation break out, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Okay, so you start out here as an MD. And as an MD, which is a marketing director, you get paid 15% of all commission value from any product and service, okay? So for example, let's say you sold a tri-pack of the nutrition. That will be a $10 commission will be generated on that, commission value. CV means commission value, okay? So as a marketing director, you will get 15% of that, which is $1.50, okay, of the $10. Now, you are only going to be here for 5 minutes, I always tell people, because to get from this position to the next position, you must do a couple of things, okay? You can either enroll 2 people at $34.95, or you can move $200 in commission volume. In this example, we're going to show that you did A and B, okay? These are your first 2 people that you enroll. These people are basically your training sales, okay? You get paid on these people. You get a $10 commission when you join, and then you get a trailing commission, okay? It is a 50% match trailing commission, all right? Now, we either need to enroll 2 people, or we put $200 in personal CV, and that's going to promote you to an EVP, which is an executive vice president, okay? Now, what we want to do is now that we're at EVP, and up top you see where it says 50% base shop match. So what that means is when A and B gets their first 2 people, just like you did, they're now promoted to EVP. Now, whatever they make in their base shop code, which is basically their power code, you're going to get paid a 50% match. So every time they make $35, you make $17.50. Every time they make $25 in their base, you make $12.50, and that can go to infinity. So we're talking about the 3 is the key. So if they do 3 is the key, and make that $38,000 in their base shop, you'll make $19,000 or so, roughly, because you get half of that, okay? So if both A and B go out and build their base and make that $38,000 on 3 is the key, you would make another $38,000 in addition to the $38,000 that's on that chart that we talk about, okay? Now, the standard commissions on products and services as an EVP, you get 25% on every personal sale of the CV. So in that same example of a tri-pack that has $10 in CV, you're going to get $2.50 of that $10. So you got a little pay raise, right? But now you can qualify for something called a super retailer bonus, okay? We're going to talk about that in a second. Now, in your base shop, we want to talk about this. If there's people who have not gotten promoted, so the third person that you bring into this business, okay? That's going to be your third person. So remember, this is just like 3 is the key. This opens up your base shop, okay? So anyone that's inside of your base shop, okay, you are going to get a 10% commission on their products and services. So out of that same deal, a $10 tri-pack of nutrition. It's going to generate $10, and you will get 10% of that, which is $1. So that is the standard commission on products and services as an EVP. Now, if you qualify for the Super Retailer Bonus on your personal website, instead of getting 25%, you now get 100%. So now here's what the computer is going to do. It's going to look back the prior 5 weeks and see, do you have at least $10 in CV? Okay? If you have $10 in CV, then it's going to pay you 100% of that $10. So you'll get the whole $10 paid to you. Okay? Now, if you don't have $10 in 5 weeks, the computer's going to look back 13 weeks and see collectively out of all 13 weeks, do you have a grand total of $30? If you have a grand total of $30, it's going to say, okay, you're qualified, and give you the 100%. If you don't have it there, it's going to look back the prior 26 weeks and say, hey, do you have, at least out of those 26 weeks collectively, do you have $60 in CV? If you don't, it's going to look back the prior 52 weeks. So it's going to look back a whole year and see if you had at least $120 total CV for 52 weeks. And if you do, it'll pay you the 100% commission. So that's a very generous way to make sure that you always stay qualified, because it's going to keep looking back and see if it can add up all this stuff and qualify you. And then instead of getting the 10% in your base, you're going to get 85%. Okay? Now, that's how the Super Retailer commissions work. Okay? These are on products and services on your site. So what you want to do with person A and B are assigned to your upline's base shop, not your base shop. See, when you enrolled person A and B, you did not have a base shop. But when you enrolled person C now was enrolled into your base shop. And this is where you want to spend 80% of your time working with your team, which is in your base shop, not working with A and B. It is your upline sponsor's responsibility to work with A and B and train A and B, because they get the base shop money, not you. You get the 50% match, okay? That's very important for you to understand, okay? Now, what we want to do is we're spending 80% of our time here in the red. We want to help person C get their first 2 people into this business. So we want to go down, help them make a list, help them do some 3-way calling, start working on 3 as the key. They enroll the first 2 so they can get promoted. Now those first 2 people that person C enrolls is now in your base shop as well. So what happens is the computer is going to pay you the base shop commission, which is $25 as an override on the 35. So person C would have gotten 10 because they were an MD. Remember, you get $10 per person on your first 2 as an MD. So person C would be an MD. They would get $10 each, and you would get $25 each, which equals the total of the $35 that's paid out, okay? Now, what we want to do here is now we want to help C1 and C2 enroll their first 2 just like you helped C. So all 7 of these have now rolled through your base shop. So when I say, are you working with your base, this is what I mean. So now you make another $25 per person, and now you've made roughly $185 in total commissions. One of these were personal sales, but all the others were just overrides helping other people. If we do a very good job at teaching people how to make a list, how to get through all this, now we're going to start doing what is called tap routing. We're driving this leg through other people's lists and helping with using their relationship to kind of get your foot in the door to explain myEcon and help them get promoted. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're building your base, and you're helping them get promoted, okay? So now let's go another round of this. All the ones up top you've already gotten paid on. But now here's what we're doing. We're helping person C3 get C7. C7 got C11. So it's kind of going in a straight line. It doesn't have to go this way in this geometric shape, but we're showing you the first 2 people that everyone enrolls is going to go into your base shop on that 3rd person and beyond. And you can have as many legs as you want in your base, okay? So this is kind of looking at how 3 is the key will start breaking out in that chart that we show the money of the $38,000 challenge, okay? So now here you made another $175, okay? But look, you only sponsored the person in the base. As far as in the base, we're talking about person C. So you've only sponsored one of them in the red, which is the one up top. But every other one came through just working through other people. Okay? So now here's what's magical about this. This can go infinite levels deep. Okay? So C1 and C2 is not on your first level. Okay? These are all still in your base. They haven't even made it to the first generation as far as the count is concerned, okay? But let me show you something. So what the computer is going to do is going to look at person C, and since person C has enrolled C1 and C2, now C is now promoted to EVP. So the computer is going to look at that EVP and take person C out for the purposes of pay. He's going to leave your base shop and be placed on your first generation. Okay, so no one moves from your base shop to the first generation until they get 2. Once they get 2, now they're on your first generation, and now they're what is called a first generation EVP leg. Okay, your base shop in totality counts as a leg, and each EVP that gets promoted out is a separate leg. Very important to understand when it comes to promotional purposes for making gold, platinum, and infinity. Okay, so what this is representing now, C is now got his third person. So now C has done 3 is the key, right? So the first 2 people went to your base. The third person went into person C's base shop. And person C's base shop is all your first generation. So person C could have 1 person or 500 people in his or her base, and every single one of those people would be on your first generation. That is amazing. Okay? Now, let's take a look at what happens here. C14 got 1. That's now C15. C15 got 2. That's 16 and 17. What this represents is what C is going to make inside their base shop. Okay? What you get paid is going to be called generational pay. And I'm going to come back and cover generational pay based on gold, platinum, and infinity. But I'm not covering generational pay now. I'm showing the geometric structure as to how the marketing system promotes people out and where they fall. Okay? So now look what happened here. Person 14, C14 didn't get 2. They only got 1. So they're still sitting in C's base. But C15 got C16 and C17. That's going to make C15 a EVP. So now, what happened here, go back. C is an EVP on your first generation, and then C had someone in their base, which was C15 that got 2, which made C15 an EVP. So that basically created a second generation. And we're going to pay you 5 generations. And then once you make infinity, we open up generation 6 through infinity. Okay? So this can do this process 5 times, and each generation is comprised of base shops. That could be a lot of people. I put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all through base shop and first generation. Okay? Now, person C21 is now in C15's base on the second generation. Okay? So now look what happened. C21 got 1. That person didn't get promoted. But now we're talking about base shop legs. So now this kind of goes back. And so we showed you generations. That's how a person gets to your generations. And understand something. No matter if you personally sponsor them or somebody else in your base sponsored them, whenever they get promoted out, they all go to your first generation, side by side. So building your base shop deep creates a wide front line. If you would have 100 people promoted out of your base, you would have 100 EVP legs side by side. And if all of them had 100 people in their base, you'd have 1,000 people. And all 1,000 people, if they were all, for example, in their base, they all 1,000 of them would be on first generation. We still hadn't gotten to generation 2. We still hadn't gotten to generation 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So what this represents is how the legs can grow. Remember, the first 2 people to infinity that everybody enrolled drops in your base shop, okay? So you sow the seed of A and B to get the first 2 of everyone forever. That's called seed time and harvest time. You planted 2 seeds, and the harvest comes in hundreds of people, if not thousands of people. So 2 got 2, got 2, got 2, got 2, got 2, got 2, got 2. This is $25 to infinity. And if you look at that, there are marketing plans that'll have somebody sign up for $200, and then they'll pay you a $15 override down line. Okay? To be able to get $25 to infinity on a $35 product is a major deal. Okay? So now, you can have as many legs in your base as you want. The key is go, after you get your 3rd one, get a 4th one. Get a 5th one. So now, each of these work the same way. The first 2 people that are enrolled go into your base, $25 to infinity, and then every time someone gets 2, they pop out to your first generation, side by side, by side, by side, by side, by side, by side. That is tremendous, because this is a self-replicating and self-financed marketing plan. And it's just $35 for a person to get our deal. And remember what our product does first and foremost. It teaches them what? Income shifting. On income shifting, they're going to have somewhere between $200 and $1,000 back into their pocket within 10 to 14 days, even if they haven't recruited anybody, done 3 is the key yet, or sold products. That is major. Okay? So now, what we're going to cover now is how the residual income works. Okay? See, in our system, we pay out not only what you saw there, the 25s and 35s. If you add it up, okay, we pay out $35 directly to the person doing the signing, right? That's 100% of the money gone. So that's paid out to the field. I hear companies say, well, I paid 50% to the field, and they're excited. Do you know we pay over 200% to the field? Okay, look at this. You are sitting in somebody's base shop, okay? So somebody enrolled you, they made 35. But that's in someone else's generations for at least 5 generations up on the low side. And it could be as much as, 10 or 15 generations. But at least 5. So look what happens here. Each generation makes some money. And it's somewhere between $2.50 all the way up to $15 per app. So we're paying out on average about $105 every time $35 comes in. And we pay that out 7 days later. And if you take $105, that's more than 200% payout. There is no other company that I know of that's paying a 200% payout and not charging chargebacks. That's very important to understand. But because we do that, we have to hold the residual payments for the first 5 months, okay? On the 5th month, we start paying it, okay? So we don't pay any residual income for the first 5 months. So we pay it on the 5th month. Now, so here's what happens. Let's say you got a team rolling. Let me show you how this starts breaking out. Let's say you got a team rolling, you got 200 MDs coming in on your team a month. So this first month here, obviously, if you're doing this kind of production, you are an EVP Infinity. So you're going to get $3,000 upfront money on generations, because at an Infinity, you make $15 on the generations, okay? And then in June, we do the same thing. So we put 200 MDs in, we make another $3,000. In July, we put another 200 MDs in, we make another $3,000. In August, we put another 200 in, we make another $3,000. So we just kind of rolling along, right? And then here in September, we got 200 new MDs, we made another $3,000. But now, let's say out of these MDs that's coming in, 50% of them quit. Now, I guarantee you're not going to have 50% of them quitting within 5 months. But let's say they do. So here's what happens. You still got that other 200 MDs that came in October, but now we got 100 of them from May. So this is the 5-month mark, right? So now at least 100 of them are still active, and you make $8 per person as a Infinity. So that's another $800. So now your income is $3,800 for the month of October. But every single month, a new round of those ones that hadn't got paid on yet start coming into play. So let's say across the board, 50% of them are falling off and quitting, but we keep 50%, which is a pretty easy deal. That's another $800. So now you got $4,600. Okay? December, we got $3,000 in commissions in generations, but we got another 800 times 3, which makes us a total of $5,400. In January, we hit it again. So we got $6,200. We hit it again in February, $7,000. So your income starts to compound by $800 a month in this example. That's major. Okay? Look what happens here in March, 78. Okay? April, 86. May, 9,400. June, 10,002. July, 11,000. As you can see, your income starts to compound as long as you just continue to grow and stay consistent on the residual. August, 11,8. September, 12,6. October, 13,4. It just keeps going up. So let me give you some examples here. Let's say your team is growing by about 100 recruits a month on your whole team. Okay, we're going to say about 10 of those are going to come through your base, right? So, that you're going to put in your base. So you got $250 because you make at least $25 per person. So you make $250 up front income on those. But on your super team, you got $15 a head times 100. That's $1,500. So you make another $1,500 down the line in upfront money. But now look at this, DTR. That means Dream Team Residual. Let's say we can continue to have about 70% of the active associates that's in the payout, which is pretty easy to do. That's going to give you roughly $10,080 a month in residual income in this example. If everybody has $10 CV per active associate, so they're qualifying for the 100%, right? They have just 5 little measly customers. Not hard to do. So now we got another $1,764 a month. Our total income is $13,594 a month. Now look at this. Let's say we step it up. We do 300 people a month. Same 10 people coming through the base. But on the super team, it's 4,500. DTR, 30,000. Products and services, 5,292. We have 40 grand a month plus. And then obviously if we get to 800 apps a month. Now remember what we're selling. A $35 product. It's $1.17 a day. That puts $200 to $1,000 a month in people's pockets. And they get all the other stuff. The income shifting strategy, the financial planning software, the $1 million worth of identity theft protection, the free and discount. They get all this, right? Well, look at this. Only 10 of them are coming through the base. That's across the board. Now, you can do more, but we're just giving a real simple example here. Super team, you make $12,000 up front. DTR, 80 grand a month. Products and services, another 14,000. So you're making $107,000 a month, which is well over $1 million plus a year. It's 1.2 plus $1 million a year. So that's an example as to how this works as far as generations and residual pay. Now what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about base shop again, so to make sure you got this, okay? So now what I'm doing here is talking about, okay, let's talk about 3 is the key, okay? So number 1, you want to enroll as an MD in myEcon. That's and make an initial contact list. Number 2, we're getting promoted to EVP. We're going to enroll at least 2 people in the business so we can become an EVP. Then our 3rd MD starts the base shop, and we're going to have the new base shop associates initial list. See, every time we get a new person is a new contact list that's of a kind of a warm market nature that's not really started from scratch. See, if you go to cold marketing and you prospect somebody with a business card, it's going to be hit and miss. But you got a better shot. It's like shooting a layup if you use the relationship of the person that joined to get your foot in the door, to get the person to hear the information, and now we got that contact. So every new person just adds to your contact list. This example works only when the MD is in your base shop and are promoted EVP with the 2 personal enrollments. We're going to help the MDs in the base shop get promoted to EVP and open up their base shop. So we're helping them do 3 is the key. So everything goes back to 3 is the key. Get promoted and open their base. If you just understand that, everybody needs to get 3. To get 3, we have to have 10 people see a presentation. If we have 10 people see a presentation, very easy to get 3. We're probably going to have somewhere between 3 to 5. But I say let's get 10 people to see the presentation the first week. Okay? The base shop's first 2 enrollments are assigned to your base shop. And then the other one obviously is going to go when your MDs are promoted. The base shop is promoted to EVP. They become your first generation EVP, just like I just said. And then you need 7 to 10 key leaders. They want to see a key leader is going to be gold, platinum, or infinity. Okay? Because they got 15 is the standard of starting to say, okay, I'm a key leader. All right? 10 EVPs that get 10 MDs is 100 MDs on your super team. Okay? 10 EVPs that get 100 MDs is 1,000 MDs on your super team. And remember, your gold, platinum, and infinity payouts are based on your super team. Okay? That's everybody that's outside of your base shop. Okay? And then 10 EVPs that get 1,000 MDs is 10,000 MDs in your base. In your super team, sorry. So remember, we're here. We got the first 2 people. We're doing 3 as the key. We're getting that third person. Bam. So now the third person is in here. Okay? And then what we're doing is we're helping them do 3 as the key. The first 2 people are dropping in the base. And that third person is going out on first. So every time that happens, it creates a new EVP. And each one of these that you see here is a separate EVP leg. Okay? First 2 people roll in, go in your base, and now it starts promoting and promoting and promoting. And all these ones in green are all on your first generation with the EVP. Okay? So that kind of gives an example here. The third person, boom, we enrolled them. They got their first 2. And then the third one went into their base shop, not yours. Okay? Same thing here. So we went and got some more EVP legs, and we started running that process, okay? So now, you want to be an EVP Infinity. EVP Infinity is the top contract in the company. So let's say right here we got 10 EVP legs that are leaders, okay? If those 10 direct leaders have 10 active MDs each, that's 100 active team members out here on your first generation, okay? Now, if they get those 10 direct leaders have 100 MDs each, you got 1,000 people on your team. If the 10 direct leaders have 1,000 MDs each, you got 10,000 active people on your super team. And obviously, that's $8 a month just getting started. That's 80 grand a month. And then we start adding products and services and all the other financial success memberships that come in. Now, that's well over $100,000 a month. Okay, so that's another example to see how the EVP legs break out here. Okay, now what I am going to do, for last but not least, I'm going to talk about criteria here. How do we put this whole thing together? Okay, so every time you see a 1 on this particular page here, and I want to go to a full screen view here so you can really see this. All right. So every time you see a 1 here, that's what you make up front on a financial success membership. So I'm going to talk about how you get promoted and all that, okay, because there's very specific guidelines here for that. Now, every time you see a 2 here, that's what you get paid on residual income from products and services. And there is no delay on residual income from products and services. There is a delay on the financial success membership residual, which is called DTR, but there is no on products and services. So you can start getting residual right away the following week if products and services are sold. Okay? And then the monthly, every time you see a 3, the monthly residual income comes from financial success membership subscribers. Okay? So as you start out here, you're an MD. As an MD, you make $10 if you enroll another MD. So we're going to enroll 2 people and get ourselves promoted. So we already talked about what these numbers are at a 50% match. So I'm not going to really cover that. I'm talking about promotions and what's the difference here. So we got the first 2 people. We went from MD, which is marketing director, to EVP. You must have 2 sponsored MDs and pay your $34.95 a month, or have at least $200 in personal CV. The quickest and easiest way, let's enroll 2 people in the income shifting financial success membership. As an EVP, you make $35 a head every time you enroll somebody. You're going to make at least 25% on products and services. But if you qualify for the super retailer bonus, now you make 100% of all CV on your personal products and services. Every the first two people that everybody enrolls in your base to infinity, you make $25 a head and at least $10 in product CV. If you qualify for the super retailer bonus, you make 85%. Now, as an EVP, you now have generations. You do not have generations as an MD. You have generations as EVP. So anyone who's getting promoted out of your base as EVPs, they're getting their first two. They all go on your first generation side by side. And every time they put somebody in, you're going to make $2.50. Now, you're not going to be an EVP with 5 minutes because all it takes is 15 total people to move from here to the next. And we're going to get to that in a second. But you make $2.50 down line for 4 generations. You make 3% on products and services and $1 a month on the $34.95. Okay? But now, if you just try a little bit, you can make EVP Gold. What's an EVP Gold? That's if your team has grown to at least 15 active financial success memberships. But you can't count no more than 10 of those memberships from one leg. So your base shop, your whole base shop, everybody's in your base, remember in the red, that's one leg. But everyone who gets 2 and gets promoted out of your base to your first generation is a separate EVP leg. So as long as you don't have more than 10 of them in one leg, then it's going to count them. So you can have more than 10 in a leg. So if you have 50 people in your base, you're not going to be promoted to EVP Gold until you get another at least 5 out somewhere else on the generations, okay? But you can have more than 10. You just won't be counted for the promotional criteria more than 10. The second part of this is you must have at least $10 in commission CV from products and services. And that could be comprised from you and everybody on your team. So if you just have yourself 5 customers, you got $10. But bottom line, 5 of the 15 got 1 customer. You good to go. See, we make it very, very easy to get promoted. So now, you make $35 a head. That don't change. You make $25 down line to infinity on the first 2 people. That don't change. But what changes is the generational pay. This is why you want to be an EVP Gold. So now you make $750 for 5 generations as opposed to $250 for 4 generations. And remember, a generation is comprised of multiple base shops. It can have 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 MDs out here that have not gotten promoted, and that's all on first generation. On products and services, you make 7%. And then on the $34.95 Dream Team Residual, you make $3 a month on every active subscriber. That can add up pretty quick. Now, some people make the mistake here. And they say, well, as a gold, I'm only making $15 times $3 a month. That's $45 a month. That's all I can make as a gold. Not true. Let me give you an example. My upline is an EVP Gold. They are not a platinum. But I've put thousands of people down through my team. They still get paid as a gold on all those people that have came through my team. So they make thousands of dollars even though they are not a platinum or an infinity. See, he just does not have the other 90 people he would need to make platinum. Because see, over here, when you look at platinum, it takes 120 active people on your team. And you can't count no more than 30 people from one leg. And remember, your base shop is a leg in totality. And then every EVP that comes out of that base shop is a separate leg. Okay? So if you divide 120 by 30, which means you would have to have at least 4 legs. Okay? So on platinum, nothing changes on your personal commission here. Nothing changes on the override in the base shop. But what does change is the 5 generations. You go from $750 to now $1250 on every time someone enrolls in your generational team. And every time products and services are sold, you make 12% of the CV down here, all your customers. And now you go up to $5 a month on every active person that pays the $34.95. That's major. Down through 5 generations, which could be thousands of levels of sponsorship. A generation is not a level. A generation is comprised of hundreds of levels of sponsorship or whatever the case may be. Now, eventually, you want to become an EVP Infinity like myself. Well, what is an EVP Infinity? An EVP Infinity is someone who has at least 500 active people on their team and at least $500 in CV from products and services. Now back here, you need at least 75. So if you got about 37 or 38 people out of these 120 that got one customer, you're good to go. Because remember, each product has at least a $2 CV. Okay? So over here, out of these 500, if 250 of them at least have one customer, for example, you got $500 in CV. And you cannot count more than $100, I mean not $100, but 100 people, active financial success memberships from one leg. So you would have to have at least 5 legs. But it's easier to have, for example, 20 legs that have 25 people in them as opposed to 5 that have 100. See, the wider you go on through your base to get EVPs promoted, the easier it is to hit these ranks. Okay? Because everybody can hit 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 or 15 people if they really tried it and don't really kind of quit, right? But I don't know what kind of person or how many people can really go get 100 people on their team. Okay? That's not going to be the majority of people. It's going to be the minority of people. So what you want to do is continue to drive your base to go wide as you can on your front line, and that makes it much easier to hit these positions. Okay? So now, still make $35 a head here. You make $25 to infinity here. But now, look at this. You now make $15 on every active financial success membership that activates. You now make 14% for 14% for 5 generations. And then we also open up generation 6, get a 2% all the way down here. And now you get $250 a head every time they enroll. But look at this. On your 5 generations, you make $8 a month on the $34.95. And then we open up generation 6 through infinity and make another $3 down here. So when you look at this program, this is great. And here's what's amazing, okay? Let's take a look at this here. Let's say everybody on these generations was a platinum. Everybody here could get the platinum money, all these EVP legs, okay? Typically what would happen in this scenario is your money would get cut because somebody else made your same position. We pay every single person here the platinum if they all made platinum. And that is something that's very uncommon in marketing plans, okay? The break point doesn't happen until somebody else makes EVP Infinity like yourself. They will start getting the difference. They will get the $3, so they will get $8 a head on their team, but you will get $5 a head on all the stuff. So that will still be a really good deal for you, okay? So I'm going to close that out there, and we are done with the compensation training. I'm going to stop recording.